today's video, we'll be going over the big four, that being Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Bitcoin, maybe even in that order as well. And of course, I am faceless today because I don't know why. My my streaming software just does not seem to want to work, which is fine. That's probably even good for many people out there as well. I imagine the subscriber level will definitely rise with this. Anyways, let's look at Ethereum first. We'll continue on with this long thread of analysis that really began back on over here in September/October when we started doing these videos on the big three or big four, if you want to call it that. And well, it has played pretty technically the whole way up. In fact, looking at Ethereum right here, this current correction, while this thing can go on for a while, meaning that it can drag on sideways for a while, this is overall constructive still, as long as Ethereum is especially above the 10th of December low right here. But here's the thing: there are several things on the board here that do suggest that this thing will, carry on for the correction longer, and also try some downside here. We do see some phantom drives of regular bearish divergence on the daily RSI. Again, it's not like a death sentence, but likely to get it good enough to get it back down somewhere around this 3,700-ish region right here. I believe that's also the 382 fib, yeah, around there, which in fact was essentially our targets for this last correction, the 382 on a closing basis, and then the 50% level on a wick basis. And yeah, it actually hit there pretty damn well. So looking at this, and kind of drawing out a presumed future for this thing, doing the old LARP lines, it could spend a good portion of this month correcting, during this next week. It could spend most of this week trying to put in a higher low somewhere around here. But of course, that would be a higher low, assuming that it is anywhere above the 10th of December low, which, again, long-term does set it up for another major try higher. And I do think that this one is in a particular position of power as of right now. Moving on from there, I should go over the higher term timeframes, just kind of give a more top-down view of this one. Starting off with the weekly timeframe, we can see that the weekly timeframe is, of course, still angled to the upside. Also, the bi-weekly timeframe, which is going to be closing tomorrow, or actually, no, not tomorrow night, it's tonight, in fact, is going to continue the upside as long as Ethereum is closing today above 2,500. Ethereum has been known to dump for sure, but I think 2,500 might be safe, at least for today. The 3-week time frame also turning up freshly. This one not closing today, but closing next week, and that one continues up above 2,450. And then, of course, the monthly time frame is freshly crossing up, will officially cross up above 3,436, which Ethereum is decently above right now, and also holding within the bullish control zone. So all of these things do suggest that still the higher term timeframes are good here, and while I would still give Ethereum a good chance to really consolidate here for a while, I would not get super excited until Ethereum is really closing, let's call it like a weekly above, even a little bit above like 4,000, or if you want to be super safe, I guess 4,100. At that point, Ethereum very, very likely to not just retest prior all-time highs, but make, I would say, significantly new all-time highs, probably somewhere around, or I guess I already have it done right here. First area of interest would be 5,500, and then you got 6,300 to the upside. So yeah, I'd be cognizant of that because higher term time frames still good, just short term time frames corrective, which again can take some time. Moving on from there into XRP. XRP actually quite similar here as well. Again, XRP, we are looking for this one to enter into a corrective phase after the double extremes on daily BBWP, again representing volatility here. It has indeed gone into a nice sideways consolidation, and I expect that, similar to Ethereum, this one can drag on for a while here, because not only did we see the daily volatility get quite high, but the weekly is also at 100 percentile as well, or got pretty much, actually did get around there, 100 percentile, which doesn't happen too often for XRP. In fact, it's only happened a couple of other times where we've even seen, these sort of extreme reads. This back on over here in 2017 May, and then also, of course, January 2018, which were this cycle high and then this major high. Again, this was a very, very major high. It doesn't look like much on the chart, but that was indeed a 68% correction, or you might call that a crash. So, with the way that XRP moves, it does make it a little bit difficult here, to be honest. Yes, we can see volatility remain high for a long time, but seen as both the daily and the weekly were hitting extremes kind of around the same time, I'm more inclined to say that this one's going to be consolidating probably most of this month. But here's how you'll know that I'm wrong and that this thing is ready to not just trade towards prior all-time highs, but make new all-time highs. And that would be any sort of a weekly closure above the current weekly high, which is 290. If you see anything like that, okay, yeah, this thing's ready. Until then, I'd really be looking at this thing to correct more sideways and a little bit of downside as well. Just want to make sure that I'm hitting all my notes over here. Okay, yes. As far as corrective targets to the downside, I think easily this thing could come somewhere between like $2 to $2.15. Wouldn't really mean all that much. Here's the big one though. If XRP does take out the 10th of December low right here, I would look for a much deeper correction, closer to maybe $1.50, which is a very, very big move for this thing. So I would be cognizant of that. But until then, to give it a chance to consolidate right here, it's just understand that it's probably not going to be doing anything like super, super interesting to the upside, at least in the short term, I'd imagine. So also, weekly RSI hitting levels that has it hit before? Yeah, it actually has hit before, but already turning down. So to me, that's again another signal that this current rally is entering into a much more prolonged consolidation. And if you're new into these markets and whatnot, you have been spoiled, to be honest, over the last month or two with very, very volatile moves, making things very, very exciting. But realistically, markets more often than not are going to be trading sideways. So I think we're about to enter into a period of that for a lot of these altcoins, while Bitcoin like slightly takes the reins. At least that's what it looks like to me. Moving on to Solana. Solana continues to be a very, very interesting one right here. It's the one that has not been playing as well with our analysis, at least as of last week. Before that, pretty damn well. But Solana did break below 230, did close below there, so that did initiate targets down to 200. So that did happen, yes. But with the way that Solana is looking right here, this is it's not strong. Now I know the pattern bros are going to be charting this out as some sort of a falling channel. Technically, it is a falling channel. I see that. I'm not a humongous fan of this particular pattern, but the way to confirm that this thing is actually, safe, I guess, and likely to play out, I guess another retest of new highs, I suppose, would be Solana needs to actually trade and close above the 12th of December's high, that Thursday high, I think of this past week. Was it this past week? Yeah, it was this past week, which is 234.75. You see that? Okay, very likely Solana gets another retest of the highs, probably makes new highs, to be honest, from there. But I'm more inclined to say that this thing is going to trade sideways here at best, honestly. Now there is a few points of hopium. We can see that both the bi-weekly time frame, which is right here, and then the monthly time frame, which is right here, have essentially reconnected with that 5 exponential moving average, the red moving average. Which, if you're not familiar with why that's important on this channel, we kind of use it as a very imperfect guide of strong trending movements, meaning that as long as your asset's above, you're generally in a strong position. And when you're below, well, maybe not so much. We kind of flip and we kind of expect, sideways flip flops over here during sideways price action, obviously. But with the way that things are looking over the past couple of months for Solana, if you are bullish, I mean, it's not like this as a low right here is not terrible to me. What's very problematic, however, this is very problematic, would be the price is very problematic for me. It's not very accepting. Look, if this thing really does start to close, like especially any time frame above a daily below $200, I think that this thing can correct a lot more. I mean, you do see actual major drives of bearish divergence forming here. 1, 2, 3 drives coming off of these last few highs. Yeah, it's not like fully confirmed on this one just yet, but if it does come down below $200, especially on a closing basis, like it can correct severely deeper. I'd imagine that probably happen alongside like XRP coming down to $1.50. So I do think it's a little bit less likely, but of course need criteria to prepare for if that, if that were to happen. But yeah, if it did happen, I'd be looking for a quick move down to 180. From 200, which again is like a decent percentage move, 10%. And from there, maybe this, maybe that could be a low, but still potential to come down. I mean, even further than that, I'd say perhaps even all the way down to 160. So I would be cognizant of that. But again, Solana here, at least in my opinion, is at best sideways for a while. You'll know that quote unquote good things are happening again if this one does trade and close above the 12th of December high. Until then, I'd be a little bit more skeptical of this one. I'm curious if there's anything over here on our momentum charts, daily time frame. Still more or less corrective. Technically, could even cross the upside today if it closed above 214. But actually, I don't know if I'd necessarily trust that today myself. Yeah, both the daily, 2-day, 5-day all look like they want to try a little bit lower. So Solana continues to be the weakest of the big four, actually, after being the strongest for a while, but hasn't been the case for actually most of this year now. That was really mostly the case from the beginning of this year, in fact. Solana was kind of leading the general rally. Anyways, we'll finish off with Bitcoin as always during these videos. I don't do like super in-depth analysis with Bitcoin. I just wanted to do kind of like a quick fire one. Of course, I want to remember where CME closed off on Friday. It did close off in a strong position, using the median as a nice basing point for that wick low. And this would be a setup for a real try higher this week. So I would say that look, if Bitcoin's going to move to the upside, you should expect it this week. You should expect it this week for a couple other reasons as well, because volatility is very, very low. And, well, it's a Santa rally. We need our Santa rally. We need our fucking Santa rally. Like, where's Santa with his big bag of dildos to shove down my Bitcoin faces? That's what I need. That's what I need to go green. Anyways, besides my semi-homosexual thoughts there, looking at Bitcoin on the daily here, I would say on the daily, if it does close above the median, which is 102,300, sorry, that's $102,300 price per Bitcoin, then that would be a really good indication that you're going to see Monday actually make new highs, probably 106, maybe even see a move this week towards 108 if that were to happen. But it does kind of hinge upon Bitcoin's ability again to close today above 102,300. That alongside a strong open on CME, I mean, that actually would be a breakout setup. Looking at the higher term timeframes, the weekly namely, would like to see Bitcoin close above the 61A level. That is essentially 102. Is looking a little bit shaky here, but still in a stronger position for the Bulas and the Beras. Where would I flip around though? That's always a good that's always a good thing to be going over. I mean, this is really coming down to trend right here, right? So if you're looking at trend, where's your last higher low? It's right here. That would be the 10th of December. So as long as Bitcoin is above that low, I look at this as more or less constructive vertical accumulation, if you want to call it that. And likely to resolve to the upside. But the second that you see Bitcoin come back down below these lows, I mean, that's going to destroy a lot of that and probably incite a correction, a much deeper correction below 90,000. But I do think that's still a little bit less likely, or actually I wouldn't say a little bit, but I do think it's decently less likely than Bitcoin just continuing up from here to kind of end out this month of December. Just kind of looking across the board and looking at all the monthly statistics, which I won't go over in this video, which you can reference in prior videos from this past week. And I'll probably do actually another updated one this week. So yeah, that'll be it for this video. As always, I want to wish you the best. There's the big four. My brain is struggling today, so we'll figure out what the hell is going on. Hopefully a good night of sleep will fix that. And as always, wishing you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully Monday.